Roll on an elephant when it's beef, I just settle it evident. You only cool when you halibut, look but don't touch. I should just be celibate. You the type to sell out me. I'm trying to sell a bit relevant. I should run for president. Anything's possible.
What's up, unicorns? Today I am going to be dyeing my 613 Tpart wig. As you can see, the only lace I'll need to dye is the inside where I'm making my part. This is a 613 Virgin Brazilian and I absolutely love it. Okay, now I have worn this wig before, so please excuse the residue. It's going to be cleaned up once I bleach the knots anyway. The first thing I do is spray and wet the hair a little bit. For me, this is what has seemed to help the bleach to saturate through the knots so that when I do bleach, everything will turn out the way that I want it to be. Now this is a little bit harder with the Tpart because it is not going to lay out flat, so I want to make sure that I brush the hair all the way back, although even if it soaks through, it's not going to be a big deal because the hair is already blonde. So I flip the hair back as much as possible, and this is going to be the area in which I am going to dye. The bowl and the brush is what you will need. You will also need your powder. I get a level 2, and this is the best. I went ahead and got me a whole bucket full because I was tired of buying little packets, and then for me I use the 40 developer. And one thing you will need, which I know I'm looking crazy right now, is a set of gloves. So make sure you have your set of gloves, and also make sure you're in a well ventilated area or you will choke off of the smell, because the smell is extremely strong. Alright, so now that I have found my gloves, we can go ahead and get started. The gloves that I use are powder free gloves. If you have problems getting in and out of your glove, I suggest you get the powder gloves, but for me, I do not like powder on my hands afterwards. Alright, so now what we're going to do is commence to mixing the powder with the developer. I love how they bag the powder because they have the powder inside of a bag and they put the scoop on the outside. Make sure you keep the scoop on the outside when you rebag your bleach, because if not, you're going to be digging around in bleach with your hands trying to find a scooper, and it is not a good experience. I accidentally inhaled some bleach and it was not fun. For me, I use one level scoop. Try not to make it a mountain. And I know a lot of people are like, measure it precisely, yada yada. I've been doing this so many times that I really don't have to measure, but if you want to, inside of the cup they have little tick marks. I usually fill it up to the first tick mark. Fold the bag back up and I put my scoop on the outside. Make sure you put it on the outside. And then I begin. Now for this developer, this is probably a quarter amount of developer. It's the remaining developer that I have from before. And I usually try to saturate the powder, and that way when I blend it, it's the consistency that I want. Again, I've been doing this for a while, but for beginners, I would put it in slowly but surely, and then slowly add in your powder and slowly add in your developer. I kind of do a chopping motion, and then I kind of do a circular blending motion. I want to make sure that the powder mixes well with the developer, and then after I see that it's getting a little bit thicker, I use the brush to try to smash it together to blend it more. Then once it is blended good, you'll see in a little bit, I'll make sure that I rub the brush against the side so that I can get anything that might be tangled inside of my brush. The consistency, as you see, once you get to a place where it is well blended and well mixed, the bleach should not come off of your brush. If it's dripping off of your brush, then you need to add a little bit more powder. You want to have it like a cake batter consistency, and once you have that cake batter consistency, it is ready to put on. And again, once I feel like it's blended, I'm going to knock the rest off my powder and blend it in some more. That way I get the full amount that I can utilize on my brush. As you can see, it has a cake batter type of consistency, and it is not falling off my brush at all. So then I know it is ready. Now again, because this is a full put together wig and this is a Tpart wig, it's going to be a little bit harder to put the bleach on it and lay it flat. But the best part about this Tpart wig is the fact that the only part I really have to worry about bleaching is the T. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just going to do the bleach inside of the T area. I press into the wig I've heard a lot of people say to gently lay it on top. No, no, no. For me, I press it into the wig because some of those knots are a little bit thicker. I have bleached this wig before when I wore it the first time, and it did no justice. So this time, and also I have already placed the water in there as you saw earlier. This time I'm going to actually press it into the knots, and I'm going to put it also on the sides where I have already cut my lace from when I have used this wig before. What I try to do is I try to layer it a couple of times. So the first layer will be kind of thin, and then as I go back over it, I'm going to make sure the second layer is a little bit thicker. And that's the beauty of having a Tpart wig to me, is that if you are not big on parts, you literally just have to worry about parting it right through the middle. You can have some kind of play in it, but it gets a little thinner on the sides. But with a Tpart wig, you put it on, it lays flat. If you like bobs, if you like your hair to wear, wear your hair straight down, or you don't have to worry about making the perfect part, a Tpart wig is for you. This wig I am selling. It's a 613 Virgin Brazilian, and we get our wigs straight from the donors. The donors do voluntarily give up their hair, so no worries about that. This donor is between the ages of 18 and 24 years old, so you can color it, dye it. It is absolutely human hair. It is very free flowing, which you will see later. Now the color we're going to dye this is a blue, and I'm super excited for it because it's going to be all blue, you guys. And I have many colored wigs, but the blue wig is the one that excites me the most. So we're going to have a blue lace front Tpart wig as soon as we get finished. I still have a remainder of the powder and developer, but that is okay. Now, as best as I can, I'm going to lay the wig flat, which again is kind of hard because this is a fully capped wig. It is not just a frontal. So I'm going to lay it down as flat as possible to make sure that the bleach is exposed. And then I'm going to take my foil and fold it over. Once it is folded over on the sides, I'm going to let it sit for about 30 minutes to make sure that it is fully developed. And then I'm going to rinse it out. When you get done with everything, make sure that you wash out your cup and your brush. Alright, you guys, I already washed out the bleach from the lace, and now I am just combing through it to make sure that before I dye it, there will be no tangles. It will be some hair pulling out because, again, you have used bleach. It won't be that much, though, especially if it's a good wig. But as you can see, the knots are bleached, and I absolutely love it, and I cannot wait to put the color into it. So I'm going to fill up the bucket with water, and the next thing I'm going to do is to use the blonde and silver toner, so that way it doesn't look so brassy and yellow. I want it to be as white and platinum as possible, so that way when I do dye it the blue will take really well. What I love about this is when you do tone the hair, it will not be completely toned all the way through, because I won't brush it all the way through, so that way when I do the watercolor and put the hair into the watercolor, it will have natural highlights, and you will see that later. Alright, so I'm going to let that soak for a little bit, and the color that I'm going to be using is the Adore brand with Indigo Blue. I love Indigo Blue because it's dark blue, but it has a little slight hint of purple, so I'm going to use that for a color. Now here I am just going to dunk it through, and I'm going to comb through it to make sure every piece and every strand takes the way that it should take. Alright, you guys, here is the fun part, adding the color. So I like to use warm water, and again, we're using the Adore 112 Indigo Blue. So first you want to pour that into the water, but make sure you take the little top off. I always forget that. I'm always wondering why it doesn't squeeze into it. You will see that the color at first looks like it could be a purple, because on the lid at the top it looked like it was going to be like a purplish color, but really it's blue. You'll see once I squeeze it into the bucket. And now is the dunk. So I don't know about you, but coloring is my favorite part. So I usually dunk the hair into the bucket, and then I make sure that the color picks up on it. To make sure that the color goes all the way through, I use my paddle brush to comb it all the way through. And now you can actually see the highlights where I talked about earlier, where it was kind of platinum in some areas and it's going to be blonde in some areas, because the color picks up more on one side or on the outside than it is on the inside. So as you use the paddle brush and brush through it, it will soak up. And I also let it sit there for a while and soak in the watercolor as much as possible. Alright, so now that I am done with the color, I'm going to dump this water out, and then I'm going to turn around and get some warm, coolish water. Not too warm, because I don't want the color to fall out of it, but I'm gonna get some cool water and just rinse through the hair and make sure that I get any excess off of it, and make sure that the color actually stayed and stuck to the lace front. Then I'm going to pour that out, make sure that I put the wig back in the bucket, and I always use conditioner. Make sure you use conditioner so that the hair doesn't come off dry and it can stay with its shine. It can keep its shine. So I pour conditioner in there and make sure that it soaks pretty well. Going to take the time to detangle the hair a little bit. It should not be that bad at all, because it is once again virgin hair, but because of all the swishing around, I want to make sure that all of the little tangles are combed out well, so that when I blow dry and flat iron it, it'll be super duper easy. And make sure you brush from the bottom up to the top. Don't ever go from the root down. Alright, and since this is a Tpart wig, you want to make sure that you get your rat tail comb and go ahead and part your wig down the middle, right where that lace is for the Tpart, and you're going to brush it to each of the sides. So that way, when you blow dry and flat iron your hair, you already have that part established, and you can continue to style it as if it is a Tpart wig, because it is. So I spared you the details of having to watch me blow iron and dry it and all of that kind of stuff, but you can see how the hair turned out. I absolutely love this color. Again, it is indigo blue. You can see where it is darker and some areas are lighter, but I love it like that because it makes it look like it has natural highlights. And the only other thing I did was I took my razor comb and I layered it, so I just and made layers. I would probably curl this with my wand curler if I wanted it straight, but again, this is a Tpart wig, so I'll probably, you know, get some curls and make it look a little bit funkier. But again, the texture of this hair is amazing. If you're interested in buying the 613 Tpart wig, I have it in all kinds of shapes, sizes, and lengths. So shoot me a message. This hair is absolutely amazing, as you can see. And this color fits it well, and hopefully this tutorial has helped you out. If it has, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
Give it room, I'm an elephant. Wanna speak, I just settle it evident. You only cool when you holla bit, look but don't touch. I should just be celibate. You the type to sell out me. I'm trying to sell a bit relevant. I should run for president. Anything's possible.